Hello everybody, Arnold's events have been released. I'm going to do a bit of a pull day today, and I'm going to talk you through all the events, the lineup, how I think it's all going to go, and maybe some way too early predictions. Very exciting. Half of the fields, pretty much, will have one World's Strongest Man before myself, Thor, Martins, Alexi, and Tom. 5 of 11 guys with World's Strongest Man titles. That provides a lot of excitement, a lot of motivation. So, kicking off, I'm just getting grip nice and warm because one of the events that we're doing is frame carry. I was about a second away from breaking the world record in the frame carry. And if I can hold on to that frame, I have no reservation that I'm going to be, the fastest of all time up that ramp. So, goal is get these guys strong enough that that won't be an issue. Holding something, you can only do so much because it's going to tear up your hands. Where this guy, this rotates, and so you're not relying at all on your skin holding. And I actually get a lot when I hold something. I'll tuck my skin right underneath like that, and I'll get that little ledge there as best I can. And that really helps me hold it. But with this guy, it's just pure finger and forearms, big old forearm pump. So I'm gonna get a couple hundred reps here in before going to my rowing. Pre-exhausted grip, then the grip's gonna get trained twice as good throughout the rest of the session. Now, talking frame carry, in the field that we have, we've got myself, we've got Thor, Martins, and we've all finished it, as well as Mateusz, who has the world record. So there's 4 guys who have finished this frame, 400 kilos, no straps. Heavy. You can get decent points making it halfway up the ramp. But those are the guys that we're looking at. Mateusz, world record, 7 seconds. Martins did it in 11 seconds in 2022 when he won the Arnold's. Thor's best time is 11 seconds. Mateusz world record is 7. I was on pace last year for slightly over 6. So I think, again, repeat performance so long as we can get these hands going. With grip training, your muscles that control your fingers are some of the smallest muscles in your body, and they have the most fine motor control, meaning that they're very fatigue resistant because their design is to hold stuff all day. When you train that muscle, you don't want to train it maximally all that often, because when you're trying to communicate a message to the muscle, if you're trying to communicate maximal intensity to a muscle that's used to maximal frequency and maximal repetition, it's going to be too far apart. The response isn't going to be near as good as if you do much higher rep work and reserve very low rep work or very heavy work for maybe 1 session a week, maybe 1 session every other week. So all of the events are in. Like I said, we got the frame carry. We've got the Apollon's wheel for reps. So I think we're all really excited that's been thrown back in after it was taken away at Rogue. I know I'm pumped for that. We've got the Denny Stone walk. We're going to try to break. We're going to try to break Big Law's record on that. We've got the trial by stone, which is going to be a stone press, stone load to barrel, and then that iconic Oudhaugen tombstone to shoulder. Last event, max deadlift. Max deadlift with the return of Thor, who has the record. I'm really excited. I didn't have, tactically, it didn't make sense to go for 1,000 last year. I can virtually guarantee that this year you will see me pull over 1,000 pounds on the elephant bar, which I'm really, really excited about, and excited to go head to head with Thor. So yeah, those are the events. We're going to chat through them as we do our session today. Like I said, pull session, still off-season work. We're going to kick into prep probably next week or the week after, but I'm starting everything that's going to be in the No Stone Unturned series this week. You're going to find out a little bit more about all of that, but there's going to be IVs happening this week. There's going to be massage, physio, movement screening, body composition, hot colds, you name it, I'm doing it. I've got my phone all set up, and these alarms are gonna run my life. Every meal, every walk, every bit of recovery, my magnesium, my creatine, everything is in there. And I'm taking this seriously like nothing else I really have. And I really thrive on routine. And my routine into prep for Worlds and Ironmans last year was largely to do with building business. My routine this year is going to be with being the best athlete I could be, with the aim of repeating titles. So the goal is that next year I'll be unrecognizable to this year, just like this year I was unrecognizable to last year, and continue to build, seeing how far I could go. I think I took a lot of thought away from my time with Eddie of, well, if you did try all these things, imagine how good you could be. And we're going to find that out. Let's talk about actual clean and press. We don't know a time limit yet, but this is one that's been done a bunch of times. The best result that I could find historically is Thor and Brian did 3 reps. I want to say that was 2018. And then they got points for the clean as well, which is interesting in a couple of events here. I know it's common for them to give points for partial stone reps on the stone to shoulder, and they might give points for actual cleans. But this is an event that I think a good handful of guys are going to be great at. I was doing triples in training. The interesting point of distinction, though, is that with the fixed ends to the axle, I think it'll be more challenging than a standard axle. I've got something at home that replicates it very, very close. So I'll be able to train a little bit harder, but there's going to be heaps of time for us to be able to get good at this event. 3 as the best is probably too low. I'm thinking 4, maybe 5. You see Tom do 10 at 162 with the log. Maybe he gets 5 on the 180 barbell or 180 axle. But will be a very good event. Thor's got pedigree. Tom's training is going really well. My training, I love that event. So if you're looking for maximal points, you're probably looking at 4 in 90 seconds to come top 2, probably tied for top 2 at least. And that's probably where my mind is headed, but going to be a great event. That one's iconic. It first started with Mark Henry. Yeah, I believe it was 163, the original Apollon's wheel. And guys were doing the traditional continental clean movement. Mark Henry comes up with his big bare hands, grabs the axle, one motion clean to his shoulder, and strict presses it. And he did that a few times. So I don't think I'm going to get that strong to do that with 180. But I certainly have lots of footage to be able to look over. I hate that exercise. It's like the movements of the bar is a formality. It's like trying to hold your position. It's so tough. Yeah, they're partial reps. Deal with it. Try being 320 pounds. So max deadlift is back. Little change from last year, no briefs allowed. I think this is going to be a blanket rule across the board for all road competitions. So, arguably could be a bit harder, but I don't think briefs add that much with the elephant bar. I think it comes off the floor maybe that much higher than a standard deadlift bar. And the higher up you go, the less the briefs out. Last year, I was somewhere around 981. Bobby was somewhere around 986. World record's 1,070-ish, 470 kilos. So I think this year, 100%, someone will go over 1,000. And I wouldn't be shocked if me, Bobby, Thor were all over 1,000 battling it out. The interesting thing though with this deadlift is in the field, you really have a dichotomy of the deadlifters where you got me and Bobby, Thor, Martins, all really, really good deadlifters from the floor. And then it probably takes a bit of a drop. So I think we'll see a chunk of guys at the low mid 900s and a chunk of guys at the high 9s to low 1000s, which means that someone who's not as good deadlifting but decent, you could only be 1 point ahead if they pull 935 and you pull 975. So it's going to be really important to get every little bit there. And obviously we got the X factor of Mateusz, who's probably the strongest in the field, not considering the deadlift. So I'm thinking a lot about what number is going to win. And, you know, I think probably around 1,020, depending on the shape that Thor comes back in. I doubt that he's going to be back up to that huge deadlift power. But if there's a person on the planet who I wouldn't be surprised if they came back and somehow pulled 1,070, it would be Thor. So we'll keep working away. My deadlifts feel really, really good. I pulled 360 for a double during the Ronnie Coleman training session, and that felt like really nothing, really, really smooth. And I've been doing a lot of technique where I think I could pull 400 very smooth right now. I could probably max out around 420 on a deadlift bar. And once we build into the season, I don't see why that number couldn't push towards 460, 465. So the Denny walk. This is something I don't think anyone in the contest has done before. I think a lot of us have done the nickel stones, but I'm not sure anyone's actually walked with the Denny's. A chunk of us has held the Denny's as road record breakers, and I had that record up until Kevin beat that by a couple of seconds this year and held him for 39 seconds. So yeah, I mean, I like my odds on like a nickel stone walk, but with how heavy the Denny's are, you don't really know how that's going to change things. And maybe being a little bit heavier will be an advantage in that because they won't swing you around so much. The very interesting thing that no one's talking about yet is that they're calling it the Denny Stone walk, and they're talking about the Denny Stone walk record. So I think they're going to ship the Denny's from Scotland to Ohio because they're not talking about the replicas. They're talking about the Denny Stones, which I don't know if the Denny Stones have ever been moved for a contest like that. So that would be something interesting to look out for. And if so, then I've got the chance of trying to break Coach Laws's record. The funny thing about the Denny Stones is you really have to decide, and on any walking stones, you have to decide either I'm not going to train my thumbs or I'm going to train them so hard that they go numb. If you go anywhere in between, you're only going to make your thumbs really sore and sensitive and probably decrease your ability to do the stones well. So I'll talk to Lars. I don't know which we're going to do, but the funny thing in talking to him is like, he never trained when he went to do the record. He just went and did it. And I think you really can take that approach and be okay, so long as your grip is strong and you know how to hook grip, which all of us will. So it'll be an interesting event. But I know that Thor's got a really good record on, I think they're called the loom stones. I saw that. He walked them for ages. But they're lighter than the nickels, so I don't know how good the carryover will be. And then Evan's pretty good at the nickel walk. Tom's done okay at the nickel walk. I think those would be probably standouts. Mateusz, I don't know if he's ever done a stone walk before, but Mateusz being Mateusz, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out and absolutely demolishes it. But the record will probably fall, and it'll probably fall more than once. When you get the adrenaline of the arena, the atmosphere that's going to be there, you probably won't feel your thumbs at all. And for me, most of it is just about being patient and being very, very patient with your walk. As soon as you try to go fast and get ahead of yourself, that's when the stones start to go all over the shop. And with the Denny's and how heavy they are, if they get in the wrong spot, there's no chance that you're going to come back. Final event. Trial by Stone version 2.0. They did this before. Before it was, I think, stone press, stone load, Husafel carry, something like that. This year we're doing stone press, stone load, and stone to shoulder for reps after those two. The biggest sort of two X factors for me, one, the shoulder mobility to press the stone overhead. Like, if you don't have good shoulder mobility, your hands are going to be on the outside trying to press, and it'll come down and knock you in the head. And two is figuring out that stone to shoulder. There's only about 8 guys who have ever actually successfully done it. And Mateus is an absolute god at it. I've been watching a lot, and I will watch a lot. I'll be able to draw that stone in my sleep by the time we get to it, because there's handles on it. There's very particular places where you put your hands and you're okay. Other places where it's just doesn't work. Mateus did 5, which was impressive as hell. I watched Thor do 1. And if you watch Thor do 1, it might be more impressive than Mateus's 5, because he really didn't put his hands in the right place. And he put it onto the wrong shoulder. He was like, he had the light end high and was shuffling the heavy end up his body. You're like, man, he's just different level of strength. But it's, I think I've got the strategy straight, and I don't want to jinx myself, but I think my ability to lean back is going to help me a lot, because I'll be able to have that stone here, and I have no problem with weight on me here, and hopefully be able to shuffle it up okay. More of the story on that one is you get 1 and you're probably into pretty good points. It is definitely a nerve-wracking one to finish on for whoever's in the lead, because so much can go wrong. And I mean, even if your hands aren't sticking to the stone properly, you can't get into your lap. You could virtually zero the event. You don't get your lockout on that other stone right, you could zero the event. So it'll definitely be nervous times for whoever's doing really well. But Thor's done it, Mateus has done it, Bobby has done it. So there's guys in the show who do it, who will do it. So really, it's a game of making no mistakes. And yeah, I mean, the guys who've done it in the past, they've done it without seeing it before, and that's what I'm gonna have to do. I don't know how much we're gonna get to play with it in familiarization, but I look forward to it. It's a real iconic challenge. I haven't done a natural stone in a professional comp. I've done it in the couple of shows I did before Worlds first year, and I don't mind it. I like that Taki's not so involved with it. Yeah, but will be interesting. Will be a good event to finish on. Wow. So easiest health hack is we're all on our phone all day, and it's pretty impractical not to be, particularly for like me. I got to be on my phone all day for work. It's just, that's where my work is. If you've got an iPhone and you go to your settings and you go to display and brightness and you go to night shift, turn on night shift from 12 p.m. to 11:59 a.m. so that you've got your blue light turned off all day. It's way better for your eyes, way better for your sleep cycle. Blue light keeps you up, harms your eyes. It doesn't change your life at all, and it'll make your life a little bit better. So those are the Arnold events. In terms of way too early predictions, I would love to give you guys something, but there are so many quality guys. You've got myself, you've got Thor, who knows what shape he's gonna be in. I suspect he's gonna be good. You got Mateus back in full form. We'll have Alexi back in full form. We're gonna have Martins back. And those are just the guys who have won Worlds. Tom is obviously gonna be back in full form. He's been looking unbelievable. Then Tom Evans, his rise will continue. Yeah, Bobby's been on the podium the last 2 years. Max coming back after his leg injury. He's got really strong events. He's great at things like the frame. Then Oscar, the only thing I'm gonna say is Oscar has, people are talking about how hard it is to come into this show as your first big pro show. But Oscar has literally no pressure. If you come 10th or 11th in this field, you're like, well, yeah, I mean, the field was insane. So, you know, pressure off, big stage. Sometimes those guys will come out and perform really, really well. So I'm excited to see what happens there. Nonetheless, I can promise it's going to be a good show. I know that the place is going to be rocking. I assume that tickets are going to sell out mad fast. So we'll pop a link in the description. Otherwise, if you want to pick up some merch, also in the description. That's the best way to support. If you're looking to get the most out of your training, I've got programs in the description as well. If nothing else, leave a moose shopping, subscribe, and like the video. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Lift heavy, be kind, and we'll catch you next time.